Hello students, in the previous video lecture we have completed in accounts various accounting terms like capital we have completed, second drawing we have completed, capital drawing, then the meaning of firm we have completed, honor we all know, beside this depreciation we have completed. Then fourth, expenses we have completed. Expenses are of two types we have done: capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Then fifth, income we have completed. Income means here revenue, income or revenue. Revenue is also of two types: capital receipts and next one is revenue receipts. Beside this we have completed liabilities. Liabilities are of two types, one on the basis of relation, internal and external, one on the basis of time period, non-current liabilities and current liabilities. Next, seventh we have completed assets. Assets are of three types: non-current asset, second is current asset, third one is fictitious asset. Now once again, honor is the person or group of person. In case of partnership, two or more than two persons may be honor, but in case of sole proprietorship, where there is only single person is undertaking all the business activities. So honor is the person or group of persons who are undertaking all the business activities, undertaking risk of all business and enjoys the profit or facing the loss. The person who enjoy the profit and facing the loss in business, that person, that group of person is called honor. Now firm is the place. Firm is that place from where business activities are undertaken. That place is called firm. That firm may be shop, mall, showroom. Then next, capital. In case of capital, cash, goods or assets invested by or brought by honor into the firm, that is called capital. Cash, goods or asset brought by honor into the firm is called capital. Here once again, goods or asset, उसमें difference. Any assets for which we are doing business, for example, if we have ready-made garments, in that case, in case of ready-made garments, t-shirts, jeans, trousers, pants, these are goods and remaining things are assets. For example, आपने अपनी दुकान में एक टीवी लगा के रखा हुआ है, एलईडी, एक एसी है, टीवी और एलईडी, AC, but you are not doing business of TV, LED, AC. Aquarium, एक एक्वेरियम भी रखा हुआ है. So these are all assets and the business of t-shirt, jeans, pants are called goods. अगर आपकी कार शोरूम है, in that case, car showroom means you are purchasing and selling cars, means you are dealing in cars. In that case, car become asset. Car is goods and other things becomes assets. For example, computer you have kept in the office, एक computer रखा हुआ है आपने, again same LED रखा हुआ है, again LED, then AC भी है, then this computer, LED, AC or other things, any other things will comes under the category of assets. But selling and purchase of car, the car becomes goods. So goods means the thing, the asset for which we are doing business. So cash, goods, asset brought or invested by honor into the firm is called capital. Once again I am remembering you. Second one is drawing. Again same, cash, goods, assets if withdrawn by honor for personal use, then it is called drawing. Whenever honor withdraw either cash, or goods or assets out of the firm, out of the business place for his or her personal use, then it is called drawing. And drawing always reduces capital. Due to drawing, capital reduces. Capital reduces. Before that, liabilities. Liabilities is the amount. Liability is the amount which we have to pay in future. Liability is the amount which business units needs to pay in future. Some liabilities are such which are paid in a very short time period, means within less 1 year, and some liabilities are paid in more than 1 year. But liabilities are of two types. First, on the basis of relation. Second, on the basis of time. On the basis of relation, liabilities are of two types: internal, external. For example, the amount invested by owner means capital. It is the internal liability because it belongs to owner. We have already done that. Suppose owner and this is his business. We have to keep these two, owner and business, in a separate way. And all transactions, selling, purchasing, payment, receipt, all transactions will be taken from the business point of view. So for business, whatever amount invested by A, suppose he has invested 3 lakh, this is called capital. So in future, business has to return this 3 lakh to A. So for business, this is the internal liability because this 3 lakh belongs to A, who is the owner of this business. That's why it is called internal liabilities. Second one is external liabilities or liabilities towards third party. If this firm means A has taken loan from bank, then in future firm has to return this loan to the bank. This is called external liabilities. On the basis of time, liabilities are of two types: non-current liability and current liability. Current means short. In accounts, current means short time period. So liabilities which are required to pay within 1 year or less than 1 year, which takes less than 1 year, such liabilities is called current liabilities. And liabilities which takes more than 1 year in order to repay, such liabilities are called non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities is also known as long-term liabilities. Now assets are those resources with the help of which business activities are undertaken. Means it becomes easy for us means here owner, it becomes easy for owner to undertake all business activities if he has resources. These resources may be plant and machinery, land and building, furniture, vehicle, stock means goods. These are the assets. These are the cash, balance in bank. These are all resources. So resources with the help of which business can be undertaken, business activities can be undertaken, business can be expanded, business can be modified. Means it is possible for owner to adopt new technology if he has resources, and these resources are assets. These resources are called assets. Assets are of different types: non-current asset, current asset, and fictitious asset. Now first of all, non-current asset. Non-current asset is also known as fixed asset. Such assets are brought into the business not for sale. We are purchasing or bringing such type of assets only to do our business, only to undertake our business activities. Our intention is not to sell the asset, these type of assets. Like we are installing plant and machinery for a longer period. We have not purchased plant and machinery for sale. We have installed plant and machinery for production. That's why such plant and machinery which we have installed for a longer period, that is called non-current asset. Non-current asset. So non-current assets are those assets which cannot be converted into cash quickly. Current assets are those assets which can be converted into cash quickly within 1 year. For example, in our shop, goods or we can say stock is of 30,000. Goods means here, suppose we are doing the business of again ready-made garments, and total pants, t-shirts, trousers is of 30,000. Once we sold a part of this to customer, it will be converted into cash. So current this is current asset. Stock is a current asset because we can convert this stock into cash quickly. As we sold out to the customer, stock will be converted into cash. Third one is fictitious assets. Fictitious assets are actually expenditure for the firm, but then also firm or business unit is considering as an asset. Reason, such expenditure take place only in 1 year, but it gives benefit to the business for many years. For example, advertisement. After spending some amount on advertisement in 1 year, it increased the sale of business unit for many years. Means such expenditure gives advantage, gives benefit to the business unit for many years. That's why this type of expenditure is also considered as an asset, but fictitious asset. And since this is an expenditure, so it is the responsibility of business unit to cancel, to reduce this expenditure year by year. हर साल इस खर्चे को कम करते जाने का. How? By transferring some amount from the profit of every year. हर साल के profit में से, आवक में से कुछ पैसे ट्रांसफर करने हैं in the advertisement account. Then this is called fictitious asset. In this way we can compensate our expenditure in few years. Now come to depreciation. Depreciation means a decrease in the value of fixed assets, decrease in the value of non-current assets. For example, if we have purchased new mobile whose cost is 50,000. So after few months, with the passage of time, the value of new mobile reduces. It becomes 40,000, means value reduces by 10,000. This decreased value, 10,000 rupees, is known as depreciation. And value decreases in case of fixed asset due to wear and tear. Wear and tear means with the passage of time when we are using the product, automatically what happens? Obviously its value reduces. Due to bad handling means accidental loss. Due to accidental loss also value of fixed asset reduces. For example, due to bad handling, we have fell down the mobile on the floor and some parts breaks down, then as a result its value also reduces. So due to any reason, if value of non-current asset, fixed asset reduces, such reduced value is called a depreciation. It is a loss for the company. And it is also known as non-cash expense or non-cash loss. Here it is a loss, but we are not required to pay any amount to anybody else. So non-cash expense, depreciation is non-cash expense. Then expenditure or expenses. Expenses are of two types: capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Now capital expenditure, expenditures which are not regular in nature. Means after a long time we have to spend amount. Such expenditure are called capital expenditure. For example, we had purchased a machinery for our business, and after a very long time, this machine, suppose we have purchased a machine in 2010. Now after 10 years, now this machine is totally outdated, becomes old, not operating properly. Now after 10 years, we have to purchase a new machinery. And for new machinery, in order to purchase new machinery, we have to spend a huge amount. Such expenditure is called capital expenditure because this type of expenditure is not regular. Revenue expenditures are those expenditures which are regular in nature. For example, business units has to purchase raw materials regularly. Business has to make payment to employees in the form of salary regularly. Business has to spend money on electricity bill regularly. Such type of expenditures are regular in nature, which is essential for operating business smoothly. Now income or revenue, it is also of two types: capital receipts, where receipts means receiving of cash. So capital receipts and revenue receipts. Again, capital receipts are those receipts which are not regular in nature. Again, same example. In 2010, business unit has purchased machinery of 5 lakh rupees, and after 10 years, when it becomes outdated, out of fashion, it becomes old, not working properly, then we need to sell this machinery either in the form of second hand or in scrap. Scrap means bhangar. Whatever amount we will receive after selling this machinery, that is called capital receipts, because we are not selling machinery on regular basis. When it becomes old, when it becomes outdated, then only we had sold it out. And after selling this machinery, whatever cash we had received or business unit had received, that is called capital receipts, because such type of received amount is not regular in nature. And another is revenue receipts, means which are regular in nature. Which are regular in nature. Regular in nature means cash received by business units in regular way after regular interval, that is called revenue receipts. Means whenever they are selling their goods, for example, again same example we are taking, if you have ready-made garment shop, after selling pant, t-shirt, trousers, business units or firm receive cash, that is regular in nature, that's why it is called revenue receipts. Beside this, two another terms we have done, that is solvent and insolvent. Solvent and insolvent. Now solvent. Solvent is that situation in which business units are able to pay their liabilities easily. Solvent is the situation when a person, when owner, when business is able to pay their liabilities easily. It means, in other way we can say, when assets are more than liabilities. Our assets are more than liabilities. If we are able to pay the liabilities, then it's okay. If we are not able to pay the liabilities, then also we have assets more than the liabilities. By selling the assets, we can pay the liabilities. It means we are in the position to pay the liabilities easily. अगर हमारी स्थिति ऐसी है कि हम लायबिलिटीज की पेमेंट आराम से कर सकते हैं. अब आराम से करने का मतलब है either we have sufficient cash, sufficient fund in order to pay the liabilities, or other we do not have cash, then also by selling some other assets we can repay the liabilities. Reason, our assets are more than the liabilities. This situation is called solvent situation, and business may be called solvent. Now second, insolvent. Insolvent means the situation, insolvent, the situation in which business units are not able to pay their liabilities. They are not in a position to pay the liabilities. To pay the liabilities. When business units are not in a position to pay the liabilities or not able to pay the liabilities, then we can say that business is insolvent. But such insolvency is always declared by a court. And in this case, their assets are less than liabilities, or in other words, liabilities are more than the assets. Means assets are insufficient, they do not have enough assets. Means even by selling all the assets, they are not in a position to pay their liabilities. That situation is called insolvency situation. When liabilities are more than assets, then we can say this firm or this business unit is declared insolvent, becomes insolvent. And if they are in a position to pay the liability out of their assets, then they are in solvent position. Solvent position indicates strong, sound financial position of the business unit. And insolvency means their financial position is not sound, not good. उनकी जो आर्थिक स्थिति है, फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन है, वो स्ट्रांग नहीं है इन केस ऑफ इंसॉल्वेंसी. Now today we are going to do new terms in accounts, that is receivables. Receivables. Receivable means the amount which business unit are going to receive in future. So any amount which we are going to receive in future, or any amount which which is going to come into the business, but not right now, in future, then such receivable amount is called receivable. The amount which business units are going to receive, not right now, in future they will receive. The amount which they will receive in future. Such amount is called receivables, and receivables are called by different names. For example, debtors. Debtor is also receivable. Now what is debtor? I will discuss later on. I will explain you later on. Debtors, bill receivables, bill receivables, income earned but not received, This is also known as outstanding income. And fourth one is prepaid expenses or expenses paid in advance. So right now, you are not required to learn this terms, only try to understand so that our practical question becomes easy. Debtor, first of all, types of receivables or receivables are called by different names. Debtors, bill receivable, income earned but not received. We have earned the income, but till now we have not received the amount. That is also known as outstanding income. Fourth, prepaid expense. Pre means advance. Paid means we have already paid. So, paid in advance. Any expense which we have paid in advance is called prepaid expense, or in simple language, expense paid in advance. These are all receivables, means this amount we have to receive in future. That's why all these four elements, four components is called receivable. Now, what is the meaning of debtor? First, first one is debtor. Debtor means debtor is that customer to whom business unit has sold the goods on credit. The customer means, suppose we have a shop. So total there are two types of customer. This is owner A. He has sold goods of 10,000 rupees to X, and X has immediately paid the amount. 10,000 rupees he has immediately paid. So for this business, for A, X is the customer, only customer. Now second example, A has sold goods of rupees 5,000 to another customer Y, but on credit. On credit means here उधार. दूसरे कस्टमर को A ने या इस बिजनेस यूनिट ने उधार पे बेचे है 5,000 रुपए की वस्तु. In that case, this customer becomes a debtor. Means debtor is that customer. Why? Debtor is that customer to whom business unit has sold the goods on credit. In future we have to receive. 5,000 rupees from X. That's why it is called receivable. It is a part of receivable. And receivable, any amount which we have to receive in future, that is asset for us. वो हमारे लिए एसेट होती है, क्योंकि वो पैसा फ्यूचर में आना है. तो कोई भी पैसा जो फ्यूचर में आने वाला हो, दैट इज कंसीडर्ड एज एसेट. तो हियर डेटर मींस दैट कस्टमर, वो कस्टमर जिसको हमने अपनी वस्तु, जो भी हम वस्तु बेचते हैं, जिसका बिजनेस करते हैं, वो वस्तु हमने उधार में बेची है, तो ये पैसे जो है हमें फ्यूचर में उससे लेने हैं मतलब आने वाले हैं वो पैसे. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड रिसीवेबल. So first point, debtor is completed. Debtor is that customer or that person from whom or to whom business unit has sold the goods in credit. It means in future. In future, money is supposed to receive. Money is supposed to receive from him in future. Receive from him. We have sold the goods to customer on credit, and in future we are required to receive the value of goods, means money, price of the goods in future from him. That's why that customer is categorized in, or alternatively we can say that customer is a debtor for the firm. So debtor means debtor is the person, debtor is the customer from whom money is to be received in future. Next one is bill receivable. Second part, second component of receivable is bill receivable. Bill receivable. Now what is the meaning of bill receivable? To try to understand the meaning of bill receivable from example. Suppose, once again, this is your firm, FIRM. Firm is the place from where we are doing our business, and here owner A. Now suppose if he has sold, again same example, if he has sold goods on credit to X, goods of 10,000. He has sold goods of 10,000 but on credit. Then such customers, means X, is known as debtor, which we have already done. Now take another example. This person, owner, has sold goods of rupees 10,000 again on credit to Y on credit, same situation. But after selling, additional point is, after selling goods of 10,000 to Y on credit, owner has given a written paper, a kind of undertaking in which Y has to put his sign and promised A that I will pay this and this amount, means 10,000 rupees, within 2 months. Means he has to give his promise in writing form. Then this bill becomes bill receivable. Now A has to receive amount from Y, but for this purpose A has issued a paper, written paper, printed paper, in which Y has signed and then giving a promise that I will pay this amount to you in within 2 months or 3 months, whatever terms and condition is there. So now A is going to receive amount from X 10,000 but orally, that's why he is categorized debtor, and from Y he has to receive this 10,000 through a written paper, through a bill, that's why it is called bill receivable. So here this Y will be taken under the category of bill receivable. So here in these two example, X is both are customer and to both goods are sold on credit, but one is considered as debtor and another is considered as bill receivable, because to this customer, to X, goods are sold on credit but orally terms and conditions are undertaken by these two, seller and buyer. That's why this X is considered as debtor. But here, after selling goods to Y on credit, this customer has been issued a paper in which he has to put his sign. Put his sign means he is accepting that he will make payment within 2 months or within 1 month or within 3 months. That's why, because A is going to receive 10,000 rupees from Y through this bill, that's why this 10,000 or this person is taken under bill receivable. This amount is called bill receivable. Third one is outstanding income. Income earned but not received. Income earned but not received. Or outstanding income. Now once again, just assume that you have two shops. Two shops. One shop you have kept for yourself, and another shop you have given on rent. Given on rent. Now here you are doing your own business, and this shop is given to somebody else on rent, and per month rent is 10,000 rupees. Now 1 month is completed. Suppose this is the month of June, so almost June is completed. At the end of June, if this shopkeeper, this person has not given the amount to A, then it becomes outstanding income. Means this A has earned the rent of June but not received. So any income which is earned but not received, it is called outstanding income. Once again, this owner has two shops. One he has kept for himself for doing business, and another shop he has given on rent to somebody else. For example, he has given this shop on rent to X, and rent of this shop is 10,000 rupees per month. For every month, A has to receive 10,000 rupees from X. Now suppose June month is completed, means A must receive 10,000 from X, but X has not given 10,000 by the end of June. June has been complete. June is completed, but then also A has not received 10,000 rupees. It means he has earned the income for the month of June, but actually he has not received. So income earned but not received is called outstanding income. Means this amount also we have to receive from X in future. So any amount which we have to receive in future is called receivable. This is the third part of receivable. Now fourth example, and fourth part is prepaid expense. Prepaid expense. Now prepaid expense means another name is any expense which business unit has paid in advance. Now again try to understand this concept, this term through this example. Suppose A, now here owner A has taken a shop on rent, now not given, he has taken the shop on rent. This is not his own shop, he has taken in rent, and rent of this shop is 10,000 per month. 10,000 per month. Means he has to pay 10,000 rupees every month for this shop because he has taken this shop on rent. So every month he has to pay 10,000 to the owner of this shop. To the owner of this shop. Owner of shop. Every month. Now just assume that instead of this is month is June. A has paid the rent of June month. A has paid. Now once again try to understand, the rent of this shop is 10,000 per month. Now in the month of June he has paid 12,000 rupees. Instead of 10,000 he has paid 12,000 to owner of this shop. Means 10,000 for June plus 2,000 extra means advance for July. So when any expense paid by a business unit in advance, that is called prepaid expense. Means this 2,000 is the prepaid rent. Rent is an expense. Every month A has to pay rent, and rent is an expense. But this person, this owner has paid 12,000 rupees instead of 10,000. Means he has paid 2,000 more in advance to the owner of shop. That's why this 2,000 is called paid in advance, means prepaid expense. In other way we can say we have to pay 10,000 but we have paid 12,000, it means 2,000 we have to take back from this owner. Since we have to receive this amount from owner because they had paid extra money more than 10,000, so this person has right to take this money back. Take this money back in future. That's why it is also considered as receivable. So any amount which we have to receive in future from somebody else, that amount is called receivables. And receivables may be or receivable has different names like debtor, bill, receivable, third prepaid expense and outstanding expense. Oh sorry, outstanding income. Now next part is payables. Next part is payables. Payables means any amount which business units needs to pay in future. Means it is a kind of liabilities which business units required to pay in futures. That is called payables. Any amount which is required to pay in future, that is called payables. And payables are of different types or they have different names. First, creditor. Second, bill payable. Third one is outstanding expense. Outstanding expense. And fourth one is income received in advance or unearned income. And these are all liabilities. And these liabilities are also known as payables. Means creditor, bill payable, outstanding expense or income received in advance or unearned income we have to return in future. That's why they are called payables, and payables are liabilities. Now one by one, first explanation of creditor. So I am explaining these terms through examples. First is creditors. Now, what is the meaning of creditor? So through an example, suppose this is the shop of A. A is the owner. A is the owner of this shop and he is purchasing goods. Which he is selling. He is purchasing those goods from X. It means X is the supplier. Now suppose first condition, if supplier is selling goods, supplier we can say, wholesaler we can say, if this supplier is selling goods to A for cash here means if he has sold the goods to A, suppose he has sold the goods of 50,000 and immediately A has paid the amount 50,000. It means he is purchasing goods on cash basis. In that case, this X is only known as supplier. Now, condition number two. If this person means supplier X has sold the goods or supplied the goods of rupees 30,000 on credit. Now, on credit means A has purchased the goods from X but not make payment of 30,000 immediately. Instantly he has not paid any amount. Means A is supposed to pay this 30,000 in future. To whom? To X. That's why X is called as a creditor. It means creditor is that person to whom business unit is required to pay in future. Why? For goods purchased on credit. जो भी वस्तुएं आपने खरीदी है उधार पे, उस वस्तु की पेमेंट आपको फ्यूचर में करनी पड़ेगी. किसको? जिससे आपने उधार खरीदा है. इसलिए उस व्यक्ति को जिससे हमने उधार खरीदा है इज कॉल्ड क्रेडिटर. तो क्रेडिटर इज दैट पर्सन टू होम बिजनेस यूनिट इज रिक्वायर्ड टू मेक पेमेंट इन फ्यूचर. दैट पर्सन इज कॉल्ड क्रेडिटर. नेक्स्ट, सेकेंड टर्म इज बिल पेएबल. बिल पेएबल. Second one is bill payable. Now again, meaning of creditor, bill payable, outstanding expense, income received in advance are same, that we have to make payment in future. But through example, we try to bring difference between creditor, bill payable, outstanding expense and income received in advance. Now, bill payable. Suppose this is the shop of owner A and he has purchased goods from X. Here X is the supplier. If supplier X is supplying goods or selling goods to A on cash, then X is only a supplier. First condition. If X is selling goods on credit, then this X is called creditor. Now third condition. If X is selling goods to A on credit, and along with selling goods on credit, he is giving a written paper to A that you have to sign the paper and promise me that you will make payment of this amount within 2 months. So here A is putting his sign on this paper and giving promise to X that I will make this and this amount, payment of this amount, suppose 10,000 within 2 months. In that case, because A is paying this amount through that bill, that's why this liability is called bill payable. If X is selling goods on credit, first condition, X is selling goods on credit to A on credit simply, then this X is called creditor. But if he is selling goods to A on credit and along with selling goods on credit, he is giving a piece of paper in which A has to put his sign and promised X to make a payment of 10,000 within a specified time period. In that case, that liability is called bill payable. This is the second example, bill payable. Third one is outstanding expense. Outstanding expense. Outstanding expense. Now again, meaning of outstanding expense, again same, expense which we have to pay in future. But through an example, try to understand the difference between creditor, bill payable, outstanding expenses. Suppose A has taken this shop. A has taken this shop on rent. And rent of every month is 10,000 per month. Now he has to make payment of rent of June. This is the month of June. And by the end of June, he has not paid any amount to the owner of this shop. Suppose X is the owner of this shop. A has to make payment of 10,000 rupees for the month of June. And by the end of June khatam hone tak, if he has not paid the rent, then this rent becomes outstanding rent. Outstanding rent. It means in future, in the month of July or August or September, it depends on the condition, terms and condition between owner and A, that when he has to make payment. But in future, he has to make payment, either next month or next to next month, but he has to make payment in future. That's why it is called outstanding rent, and it is a liability for A. Liability for A. So any expense which we have to make payment in future, that becomes outstanding because we have not paid in time. We have to make payment in future. That's why it is called outstanding expense or outstanding rent. It is a liability for the business, means for A. And last topic, income received in advance. Income received in advance. Income received in advance. Now what is the meaning of income received in advance? Again, this is also a liability. Now how income received in advance is a liability? Again from example. Suppose A is the owner of this coaching institute. Coaching institute. And he has taken fees from 5 students. Suppose 10,000 from each student. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 and 10,000. Means total he has taken 50,000 from different 5 students. X, Y, Z, W, O. Total 50,000 he has received from the student. It means for receiving 10,000 or in against 10,000, he has promised different students to teach for whole year. Means he has taken the fees for whole year. Total 50,000 he has received for the whole year from 5 students. But due to lockdown, he was not able to run his coaching center. So what he has to do? Either he has to provide services. He has two conditions. Either he has to provide services for the whole year, services, or if he is not able to provide services, as right now condition is going on due to lockdown, many institutes are not able to provide services. So what they have to do? They have to return this 10,000 to different students. They have to return. Return means they have to pay. And in order to pay, it is called liability. Means 50,000 rupees becomes liability for this coaching institute. They have to return this amount to all these different students. That's why this is called income received in advance. They have taken 10,000 from each students in advance for the whole year. Now they are not able to provide services. Now they are not able to teach these students. That's why they are required to return this amount. That's why this is called a liability, and this is also known as income received in advance. In next lecture, we will try to start practical questions. Till then, goodbye.